The third part is about how to create a portfolio. For your fashion portfolio, you can follow some parts as a structure in order to be sure that you have all the elements that are required to show a complete project. First of all, the inspiration. Once you develop your fashion collection, you start developing a map. That's what we call conceptual map. Especially when you mix up more topics together, believe me that it's very useful to create a map that is made by pictures and keywords to explain to who is looking at your collection, but also to you to not get lost with your mind process, the ideas you have mixed up together. So, for example, in this map you may list the main topics you have mixed up, the main elements of your collection, and the keywords will explain what you are talking about. Let's see an example of a map from a student's work. In this case, she started from a very wide topic that was called Earth is Art, so how the earth and art, in particular architecture, were connected. And from this very wide topic that she used just as a starting point, she searched and mixed up the elements she wanted. So you are free to mix whatever you want again. Remember that once you start to develop your map, you are not sure about all the elements. Some may work well, some maybe are not working as well, but it doesn't matter. At the beginning, you can develop all the ideas and understand what to keep and what to discard. If you already start with something too synthetic and small, probably also your book of development will be not so deep and not so special. Once you define your map of inspiration, you can search more pictures regarding all the topics you want to cover, also balancing with the fabrics that usually are divided between heavy fabrics, middleweight fabrics, and light fabrics. Also thinking about a special part of fabrics and a very basic part. You cannot have in a fashion collection just basic fabrics or just special fabrics, so you have to be able to balance all these parts. Usually on a book of research we sketch, so we put together pictures of inspirations coming from our research, fabrics, materials, manipulations, maybe prints, whatever that helps you to develop ideas, and from this research you sketch. So usually on book of research we have what we call the draft part of our project, the work in progress of your creative process. Not necessary again, all ideas you have on your book of research are going to be kept for the final presentation. So usually what you show in your portfolio, in your final portfolio, is the selection of this work. You may keep your research book in your portfolio just as some pictures, as in this case, to be included together with a map of inspiration in your final portfolio that usually is in digital. So I will go through what usually you have in a fashion portfolio. First of all, you start with a cover where you put your name, the season of the project, if it's women's wear, menswear or what. So like the cover of a book, it should introduce your work. After the cover, you may have a concept, a very brief text that explains people which is the inspiration of your collection. After the concept, you may have different pages that are going to explain, again, your inspiration through images. The conceptual map I was talking to you before can be included in this section of your portfolio. You may do it in the digital way or scan the one you did by hand on your book. If you do it in the digital way, it will become what we call inspiration chart. Inspiration chart is a page in which you list the main topics, the most important photos of your research, and the keywords, again to let people understand which ideas you have developed for this project. If inspiration chart is more like a scheme of photos, mood board instead is something that we consider more creative, more artistic. So mood board is another page of inspiration that shows your concept, but is more like a collage, is something that you usually do in Photoshop, for example. For mood board, there's no specific rules. Let's say that you can mix as many pictures as you want, as long as the final result is not too heavy. Usually we prefer something, let's say, quite clean and simple. The only rule we say we have is that on the mood board, you don't need to put any text usually, or any layout. The mood board can be a full page image that you keep again as main part of the image inspiration. After the mood board, you may start introducing some pages about the colors and the fabrics. Fabric chart and color chart can be more or less technical. The suggestions we usually give are these. For color chart, you can also have a picture of inspiration, but usually the colors needs to be on the white background. Otherwise, you cannot read correctly the colors. Next to the colors, you should put color codes. Usually what we use is TPX code. For fabric chart, you can use something quite clean and simple. So listing the fabrics of your collection, also putting codes. What you can add in case is the fabric specification. If you want to make the fabric chart in an ordinary way, you may list fabrics from the lightest to the heaviest one. In your portfolio, you may also include some pages in which you show the process of your creation. So, from the sketches to the calicos, the tryout you have done in pattern making, and the final result of your outfits. Here you may also include some pages from your research book, for example, or handmade collages. So try to help people to understand which is your creative process, how you develop your ideas from the photos of inspiration to the final clothes. Then in your portfolio, usually you include the final illustrations of your outfits. So depending on how many outfits you have developed, you may also put them into groups that we call catwalks, or one by one as single illustrations. We really appreciate hand drawings, but for the final illustration you can also mix techniques, so have something by hand or something made in digital. Together with the illustrations, we usually also have technical drawings, so technical charts in which we show the clothes made by hand or illustrator, made by hand or by illustrator, front and back in black and white. In this technical chart, usually we add description, fabric, or specification or manipulation, everything that helps people to understand the details of this garment. In case you have realized some outfits, you may also include the pictures of these outfits. It's fine both if you have draping process pictures or calicos or the final outfits in a photo shooting or in a catwalk. It's always good to see in a portfolio the switch from the sketch to the real clothes. So remember, it's very important that the sketches and the real garments are looking the same, with the same proportions, the same constructions, so be careful in including pictures and having the sketch that really look the same. If you have prints or manipulations, you may also include in your portfolio specific charts for that, showing in detail which development you have done for those parts of the collection. In the same way, you may also have a hardware chart, showing not the fabrics, but zippers, buttons, all other elements that help you to complete the garments. You may also include what we call collection board. Collection board is a chart where you list all the clothes of your collection with next the fabrics and the color you have decided for each piece. In this way, you may understand the flow of your collection, so not just from the illustration, but from the technical drawings. This chart is also useful to understand how many pieces you have developed for your collection, the balance between the outwear, for example, and the clothes that are inside, like dresses, shirts, or skirts, or trousers. So it's very important, depending on the season, if it's for winter or spring, summer, to have a good balance. So this was just an overview about creativity, the skills to become a fashion designer, and how to create a fashion portfolio. Of course, if you want to become a fashion designer, it's not enough. You have to explore deeper each topic, especially if you're going to attend one of our courses and you discover the relationship and the ongoing feedback you develop with your tutors is something that will help you a lot to understand how to carry on this creative process. Fashion designers don't work alone, they work in team. So already in school you can experience that, and it's very important that you understand and develop the skill to share and express your opinions and your ideas. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and thank you for watching.